Mining Rocks and Minerals by Donna J. Watson. What you already know. A mineral is a natural, non-living solid crystal that makes up rocks. All rocks are made from minerals. Most rocks are made up of combinations of different minerals. There are thousands of different minerals, but most rocks are made up of only a few of them. Each sample of the same type of rock Each sample of the same type of rock always has the same minerals. You can identify a mineral by testing its properties. A mineral's properties include color, luster, hardness, streak, cleavage, and crystal shape. Streak is the color of a rock's powder when the rock is scratched across a special plate. The Mohs scale ranks the mineral's hardness. Luster is the property of how a mineral reflects light. Minerals that break along smooth, flat surfaces have cleavage. Finally, a mineral's crystal shape can sometimes help identify it. A rock that contains valuable minerals is an ore. There are 3 different types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Igneous rock is rock that forms when magma or lava hardens. Sedimentary rock forms from layers of soil, bits of rock, shell, and dead plants and animal matter that press on each other for years and years. Metamorphic rock is rock that has been changed by heat and pressure. Rocks are in a continuous process of being formed, destroyed, and formed again. This process is called the rock cycle. In this book, you will learn about the rocks and minerals that people have mined and continue to mine. Different people have been mining for thousands of years in different parts of the world. Keep reading to find out more. Mining in the past. People have been using rocks and minerals as resources for thousands of years. The term Stone Age describes the time period where humans first started using rocks and minerals as simple tools. At first, people just used what they found on the ground around them. The Stone Age began as early as 700,000 years ago in some parts of the world. It lasted until about 10,000 years ago. In the Stone Age, most mining was for flint. Flint has several properties that made it valuable to the Stone Age people. People could make good tools and sharp weapons from it. Flint also chips easily, which made it easy for people to shape and rework. And flint can be used to help start fires. Stone Age people discovered flint in beds of chalk buried underground. They used their deer antlers, stone tools, and tools shaped from animal bones to dig it up. These Stone Age tools discovered in France are made of flint. The Copper Age. Copper was the first metal to be mined in large amounts in many parts of the world. People first created objects out of copper about 8,000 years ago. The ancient Egyptians were some of the first people to mine copper. Copper mining was slowly spread northwest through Europe. People living in Germany and parts of southeastern Europe began mining copper about 5,000 years ago. Copper proved that to be better than flint. It is soft and easily shaped. It becomes hard after it's hammered, but copper is rarely found in its pure form. Arsenic, tin, and antimony are often mixed in with copper ores. Smelting, the process of melting away unwanted substance from metal ores, began soon after copper mining started. When people started smelting copper ores to make bronze, a mixture of copper and tin, the Bronze Age began. This stone painting from ancient Egyptian times shows workers smelting copper. The Bronze Age. As early as 5,000 years ago, people in parts of Turkey were mining tin in order to make bronze. Around the time Israel's Timna Valley became a center of Bronze Age mining and smelting. Copper miners at Timna dug with stone tools to get at ore that was underground. In Fainan, Jordan, copper miners working about 4,000 years ago mined as deep as 20 meters below the ground. By a little over 4,000 years ago, people throughout the world were making bronze. Just as copper was better than flint, bronze was stronger than tin or copper alone. Bronze can be poured into casts or special shapes after it is melted. It also becomes very hard when it cools. Such discoveries led people to experiment mixing metals other than tin and copper, such as silver, lead, zinc, and mercury. Bronze metal workers below left made spearheads below right for copper and other metals. The Iron Age. Hematite is a mineral that contains iron. Scientists believe that over 400 Scientists believe that over 40,000 years ago, people in Swaziland. Scientists believe that over 40,000 years ago, people in Swaziland dug it from a cave to make dyes. 7,000 years ago, in parts of England, people were digging iron from the ground. And scientists think that a little over 4,000 years ago, people in Turkey washed beach sands to remove iron from them. The iron was then sent to furnaces to be smelted. Of iron, flint, copper, and bronze, iron is the strongest, so people switched to working with iron. This change marks the beginning of the Iron Age. By 3,000 years ago, iron smelting had begun in many parts of the world. Some might say that we are still living in the Iron Age. Modern steel, for example, is a combination of iron and carbon. Here you see a reconstruction of an iron smelting forge from 2,000 years ago. Mining today. Today, most rocks and minerals are mined from far underground. How do miners and geologists find them? Geologists often start by making a geological map of an area. They look for faults and other features in Earth's crust. When geologists find sedimentary rocks of a certain age, they can sometimes tell what materials have formed them. Geologists use different tools to find rocks and minerals. They use Geiger counters to detect radioactive substances such as uranium. They use gravimeters to show the density of different rocks. Magnetic ores are found using magnetometers. Geologists drill sample cores or trenches to bring up dirt and rock from in the area. They study the samples to determine how deep a mine should go. Engineers then use computers to design the best mine for that location and mineral type. These geologists are taking samples from rocks. Engineers study many features of an area before choosing the type of mine needed. They study the soil on the surface along with the overburden or unusable rock. This mineral must be taken away before miners can get a value. This material must be taken away before miners can get at the valuable ore. They consider the amount of groundwater there and how water will drain from the mine. Finally, the engineers must decide what material are needed to build the mine and how the mine will be supplied with fresh air. Along with the engineers' studies, geologists try to figure out the grade or quality of the ore that will be mined. They estimate the quantity of ore that is there and the milling or processing need before the mine can be sold. Once a mining company decides to build a mine, they need to choose whether to build a surface mine or underground mine. Today's miners use heavy machinery to dig out ores. Types of mines. People have developed several types of mines since mining began. The first mines that people dug up were surface mines. Surface mines are the least expensive mines to build, but digging them can cause a huge amount of damage to the land. Miners have to cut down trees and scrape off grass, shrubs, and topsoil. Then they must remove the top layer of rocks to reach the ore that is below. Today, the topsoil and layers of rocks are saved and then replaced once the surface mine has been used up. But in the past, once miners were done with mining surface mine, they would just leave it as it was. Miners working at this coal mine have removed trees, plants, and soils to get at coal far below it. To get coal far below the surface. More surface mining. Open pit mining and strip mining are two of the most common types of surface mining. Often a machine called a crusher will be built at the site of an open pit mine. The crusher crushes the ores taken from the mine. The ore is then taken to a nearby processing plant to be heated. The heating removes the valuable minerals from the crushed ore. Quarrying is another term for open pit mining that is done close to a surface. Quarries are dug to remove rocks that do not need to be processed. Granite is often removed in large blocks from a quarry. Gravel and sand are also quarried. Placer mines, which is when minerals are removed from the sediments found on river bottoms, is a type of surface mining. Placer mining is especially useful for mining gold and was widely used during the California Gold Rush, a granite quarry. Underground mines. Underground mining is usually more expensive than surface mining. This is because underground mines need entrances to get to the ore and passages to remove it. And added is a horizontal ground level tunnel into a hill or mountain. It is a type of mine. A shaft is a vertical tunnel that goes straight down into an underground mine. Miners often break up the rock in underground mines by blasting them with dynamite. They put the broken up rocks into buckets or on elevators or conveyors to move it to the surface. As the ore is removed, supports are built to keep the mines from collapsing. Sometimes small railways are built to transport the ore from one end of the tunnel to a conveyor. The conveyor then takes the ore to the surface. This diagram shows how underground mine changes the land. Underground coal mines are often built using a method called room and pillar. The coal is removed from certain areas, but pillars of coal are left behind to support the mine's roof. Because of the value of coal, a room and pillar mine can be later turned into a special kind of mine called a retreat mine. In a retreat mine, the pillars are removed, causing parts of the mine roofs to collapse. You might think that these collapses would be a danger to the miners, but the miners do not have to leave the mine while the collapses are happening. Another type of underground mining involves drilling holes called boreholes. Miners drill boreholes into an ore using high-pressure hoses. Miners drill boreholes in an ore. Using high-pressure hoses, they blast the ore with water. The water breaks up the mineral and mixes with it. The miners pump the mixture to a tank on the surface. The minerals settle at the bottom of the tank. The water is pumped back into the mine, a modern underground mine. Mining in the United States. Mining in the United States is a big business. According to the National Mining Association, MNA, in 2003 there were about 14,300 working mines in the United States. At the time, those mines employed about 320,000 people. The coal mines and minerals dug from underground in 2003 by mines in the United States were worth about a total of $57 billion. Ranked in order, the top five coal mining states in 2003 were Wyoming, West Virginia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Texas. The top 5 mineral-producing states that year were California, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. Gold Rush. There have been 4 major mining rushes in recent North American history. There was the California Gold Rush of 1848 to 1849. The Colorado Gold Rush of 1859 to 1850. The Colorado Gold Rush of 1859. The Colorado Gold Rush of 1858 to 1859, the discovery of silver in northern Nevada in 1859, and the 1896 to 1900 Gold Rush in Canada Yukon's territory. Of these rushes, the California Gold Rush is the most famous. On January 24, 1848, John Marshall found gold on a California's American River. News of this spread rapidly. By 1849, thousands of people were flooding into California seeking gold. At first, the miners panned for gold directly out of rivers. When that gold was removed, the miners dammed the rivers. Then damming left stream beds dry, allowing miners to get at harder to reach gold. In the early 1850s, the miners started blasting the stream beds with water from hoses. This wrecked river environments but helped the miners locate more gold. These California Gold Rush miners are using a type of placer mining. Mining coal. In 2003, coal made up 1/3 of the value of all minerals mined in the United States. About 2,000 coal mines in the United States were active that year. This was about 1/7 of all mines in the United States. The amount of pressure placed on coal determines its grade. There are 4 grades of coal. The highest grade of coal is anthracite. Anthracite coal burns cleaner and what?
Anthracite.
The amount of pressure placed on coal determines its grade. There are 4 grades of coal. The highest grade coal is anthracite.
Anthracite.
There are 4 grades of coal.
Why do you just keep recording? Are you going to scrub it later?
Oh, you know, I